And I always think that you need, I don't know, when I haven't got it suddenly, another pair of glasses, the credit cards, the eye collier for Dolly. I mean, everything's useful. It just weighs a ton. And as it was mine, I just thought it was more fun to hang things off it. So I hang my watch off it and all my baubles and bangles and beads. Because when you walk around, they jingle and jangle. So it's a happy sound. It's like being on a coach with a horse in New York, but they wear really well. I love things that wear really well.
Jane's bag looks so fun, like it lived a full life, right? Do you guys agree with me? And here's my Birkin, just sitting here, plain Jane, rarely carried out, worn a few times in the last couple of years. I literally stuff it in this dust bag to protect it when I store it and suffocate it, basically. And then I've got the twilly here because so many people said you have to protect the handle because the leather handles are so hard to replace if you damage them. This is all unnecessary babying. And then I've got tissue paper inside to keep the structure. And then I've got a silk organizer insert to keep the inside clean. Wow, if Jane were alive today and she saw all of this, she would probably be laughing her head off, right? She also had an amazing sense of humor, by the way. But you look at the black Birkin bag that she was showing in that clip, and it just looks so much more fun and has character and personality. Whereas I think a lot of us nowadays, me included, I'm definitely being put to shame here, we are making this bag out to be more than it really is. It's a bag. It's a leather bag. We can talk about craftsmanship and quality and branding all day long, but at the end of the day, if someone who doesn't know handbags were to look at this, they would just say, oh, it's a bag. And they would just throw a bunch of stuff in there and drag it around to take care of their business, right? So this is just a reminder of how material objects are meant to be used and enjoyed, and it's the people in our lives and memories and experience that are to be cherished. Jane talks about how she had one bag at a time and clearly thoroughly used her bags. I mean, she put stickers on them and charms on them, and you can see the wear. She traveled with her Birkin. It was meant to be a travel bag. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the real story of how the Birkin bag came to be. A lot of us have come to believe that it was all based on her straw bag tipping over in the airplane. And coincidentally, there was an Hermes executive seated near her who happened to notice that all of the contents of her straw bag had spilled out. So he was inspired to design a new bag, and he named it after her, being the inspiration. But actually, I found a clip of an interview that was done with Jane Birkin herself, and she tells the story in her own words, and it's far more interesting how it all happened, and there's so much more detail behind it that I wanted to share that clip with you.
Going to London, and they upgraded me, the hostess upgraded me, and I found myself next door to a very polite gentleman, and I'd got my agenda, as usual, bang full of bits of paper and everything, and the whole thing fell to the ground. So I picked it up, and he said, you should have pockets in that agenda. And I said, what can you do? Hermes don't make it with pockets. And he said, I am Hermes. I said, oh, then in that case, I'll give you my agenda. If you could make something with a pocket, that would be lovely.
So isn't that interesting? According to Jane's story, she's saying that the items in her agenda had fallen out, and that is how the interaction started with the Hermes executive. Now, maybe her agenda fell out of her straw bag, and it's all connected, but the point is, the conversation was first about an agenda, and I do have this one here from Hermes in the gold togo leather matching, and I will say, this still has no pockets. Okay, so maybe she's talking about a different agenda, a different model that doesn't exist today, or maybe this is just the notebook cover and they have a separate agenda, but there are no pockets in this. And so you can see when I have my notes, I actually stick it right in here, which is not a pocket, to hold it. But I just find that interesting that the first item they discussed was to improve the agendas.
I said, why don't you make a handbag that's a bit bigger than the Kelly and not as big as my suitcase, which weighs a ton? And he said, like what? And there was the sort of vomit bag. And so I did a little sketch.
They call it the stomach distress bag.
The stomach distress bag, I beg your pardon. And I did a wee sketch, and he took it with him.
Did you all catch that? Besides the vomit bag piece, she mentions two interesting points here. Number one, that she suggested something other than the Kelly bag. So she was familiar with the Kelly and didn't want that bag. She wanted something different. And then she says that she sketched out a rough idea or rough design of what she wanted the bag to look like. So she really should get more credit with the current day Birkin bag, because not only was she the inspiration because of the airplane conversations, but she actually sketched out what it could look like. And the Hermes executive brought that sketch back to his offices.
And a month later, I got a call from Hermes saying, would I come and have a look at this bag? And it was made out of cardboard. It looked lovely, actually, in cardboard. And I said, you know, this leather would be rather nice, etc. And then when I picked it up, they said, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Can we call it your name after you?
Yeah.
So I said, well, what do you mean? And they said, well, we've got the Kelly and we've got Monsieur Dumas' traveling bag or something. Can we call this, you know, your name? Oh, I said, with pleasure. You know, I was so flattered after the Kelly and everything. So he gave me my bag. And I never really followed it up much until much, much later somebody said, you know, your handbag is the bag that is selling the most than any bag or something. And when I went to America, I don't know in what interview, they said, you mean Birkin like the bag? So I said, oh, another bag is going to sing. What can I say? And I thought, oh gosh, on my obituary it will say like the bag or something. When someone said, what will you be best known for? I said, the bag, could it be? So I expect so.
It is so funny that after all this, you might be known for a bag.
I might. Well, could be worse.
Yes, could be.
Aw, she was so lovely, wasn't she? And of course, Jane will always be associated with the Birkin bag. She was the inspiration behind it after all, and it carries her name. And she used the Birkin, so she was photographed a lot with it. But she was so much more than that, and she's remembered for so much more than that. Jane was a successful model. She was one of the most photographed women in the 60s, becoming the it girl in Paris. Known for her effortless yet elevated style, she was also an accomplished singer and also an actress. Later in life, she also became an activist for women's rights, and she was a real person, not only with talent, but a good heart and humility.
You don't take anything for granted quite as much. It's not that sure.
And I believe that her true legacy is that she was loved by many, and she also loved many. She created a beautiful family alongside her remarkable career. She actually had 3 children, and those 3 children had 4 grandchildren. And she lived a full life. She was born on December 14th, 1946, and passed away on July 16th, 2023. At the age of 76, she left this earth, but she left so much to be remembered. So it's not just about the Birkin bag, but I wanted to cover a slice of her story in this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And as Jane Birkin lived a very joyful, fun life, not taking things too seriously, I hope that we can do the same and enjoy every moment as best as we can. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.